Challenge titles, as we know, are a pretty risky business. For the most part, they're the stepping stone into the future of what our AAA next generation experiences will ultimately become. With Killzone Shadowfall aiming to appease the more adult audience with sci-fi gun-toting action, can Japan Studios' building block bad boy known as Knack deliver a family-friendly entry experience that'll entertain the young masses, while also filling parents with nostalgic gameplay of olden-day classics?
Just go slow, little buddy. You'll be fine.
Knack from the offset was initially looked over with a frown. Showgoers to the previously well-received Sony E3 event in 2013 shrugged off the pet startup project of industry legend Mark Cerny, and in a way it was never seen or accepted as a potential use of your time. But no one was wrong in that initial observation. From the unknowing preemptive gaze, the general video gamer may grumble or shift away uncomfortably from Knack's rather Saturday morning hand-me-down art style. But for some reason deep down from hours well spent with the title, there was something to be desired that we were never expecting.
So, where would you like to start?
The story of Knack, to my surprise, is a tale that actually runs rather deep. We start the game as the small, stumpy toad golem who wows the higher-ups of Earth through his very existence and ability to manipulate the power source these humans use, known as relics. It's not long until Knack and his team of rather dim-witted human counterparts are thrust into a rather guerrilla warfare quest that never grows in its feelings that the entire world and all greater good is at stake here. But that isn't important, because to the core, this game isn't meant for the grown-up heavy thinker. It is a story that dedicates itself to the wonderments of a younger audience, and actually gives them an adventure that could be seen as an entry-level action movie or direct-to-TV cartoon. Knack, to some surprise, actually involves a few twists and turns too, and while adults may see a few of these upcoming events a mile away, it is children that will be on the edge of their seat as our heroes travel the many lands this game has to offer.
Well, Knack, let the adventure begin!
I can't wait.
Not everything is sunshine and bubbles though, and this is definitely the case with Knack's final chapter segments, that in a way rushes its hero's epic journey to a close with an outcome that even feels heartwarming but never gives the players the answers they have been craving for all this time. Something else that I found a problem was how unlikable a number of the characters were. I was rather shocked by the motivations of Knack's scientist creator, who selfishly used Knack for his own needs, but never seemed to learn from his behaviour. He actually gave a feeling that Knack as a character was a little naive, and in a way I hoped even yearned for Knack to potentially think for himself at times, instead of feeling like an utterly tied down tool.
Attacks on the humans will not be ignored.
You are their tool!
As mentioned though, most younglings will actually love it, and in a way, I respected Knack's plot for providing kids with a story that was easy to pick up, but ultimately acceptable to walk away from.
And peace is restored! Time to get back to more important matters.
Seeing as this title was partially designed by the man who helped mold titles of old, like Crash Bandicoot, Ratchet & Clank, and even Jak and Daxter, it wasn't that surprising to find Knack's overall gameplay a little bit familiar. The game from its first few steps works like a third-person beat-em-up. Knack, even though rather fragile, wanders the field through the player's control, smacking enemies left and right, while also implementing a few additional tricks like dodges, dash attacks, and super moves that can be used for the harder sections of battles. Knack's moveset though is sadly rather basic, with only a 3-hit combo to rely on, but funnily enough, while its combat system may come off as simplistic, it is surprising to see its enemy AI actually keep the player on their toes to the point where dashing and dodging becomes a necessity. This, for me, is a pretty good thing overall, especially with the fact that the game has a large and oddly plentiful variety in enemy types to combat, like mechs, goblins, and even the inhabitants of nature itself. It was refreshing to see so many different types of deadly enemies to fight, and even though already seen enemy models for the most part are recycled, the game never stops introducing new threats the further into the game you went. Surprisingly, the enemies can be quite the challenge too for players attempting normal and higher. Knack, though powerful, is a rather flimsy hero, and so gamers shouldn't be surprised if they find themselves falling in battle after 2 to 3 strikes. It actually never feels cheap though, and in a way previous encounters may make you think smarter and push you towards wielding Knack's toolset Knack to his maximum. To combat this as well, Knack must channel the power of something called sunstone energy that glows in the numerous yellow crystals that you come across. Through the use of this resource, Knack can then unleash a special devastating attack in the form of a shockwave, tornado, or lock-on range strike. Each special move feels different for the most part, and players may actually find specific advantages for each certain type of enemy, but sadly, that is all Knack really has to offer as a toolset, and the biggest problem is that he gains them right at the start of the adventure.
So, Victor, you still think I'm too delicate?
Knack still has a few bells and whistles to find though, with a nice stash of different materials for Knack to gain size from. It's rather exciting at times to see our protagonist wield these forms not only for the aesthetics they achieve, but also the different challenges that come with it. We also can't forget the immense size that Knack can grow into. During the levels, Knack is constantly collecting relics from his surroundings, enemies, and caches that help increase his max health, but also spurt his growth. This in turn dwarfs previously huge enemies and makes Knack feel like a fully controllable Godzilla among goblins. These sections are immensely fun and are quite the goal to work towards during chapters, just to trudge around squishing foes and dishing the beat down on bigger adversaries. Throughout Knack, you'll also find a chance to unlock many gadgets and gizmos that can help you on your journey. Gadgets like being able to increase attack damage while not being hit, and even collecting sunstone energy from enemies that can help power your safety net powers even further. There is always something to be looking out for in his title, and it's great that it isn't only the combat you need to focus on. What's more is that players having trouble collecting that last piece of a long-awaited unlockable can even use a friend's past discoveries to unlock a one-time chance at a piece they were really desiring to be part of their gadgets, or even gems that go towards new and secret knacks. Unlockables don't even stop there, with completion has been rewarded with a rather relaxed time attack and Colosseum mode that allows players to use and push their collection of knacks to the very limits of their potential. It's great that finally in the game we have a reason to use our eyes and not just the muscles in our fingers.
Ooh, I'm getting chills. Off for more.
Visually, Knack uses the power of the PS4 quite well. While sure it might not be in the league of the jaw-dropping Killzone Shadowfall, it uses its simple childlike design to a rather good level, and it feels rather welcoming throughout. I never personally saw a frame rate drop either at any time during my experience with this game, and especially when Knack is dishing out particles and powers all over the screen. The massive variety in enemy designs is also great, and at times really cool with some awesome looking enemy mechs and bosses. Knack also has quite the voice cast, with some notable talent you might be able to pick out from the bunch. The cast for the most part seem to suit well in their roles, but Knack's deep and baritone voice always seems rather oddly fitted at times, and in a way, I wonder if maybe a different tone might have suited him better. Ultimately, Knack is a great entry experience for your kids, who might be screaming at the eyeballs for a title to start their PS4 lifespan. Older gamers sadly might not fully appreciate the story, but its gameplay and challenge on higher difficulties will give reason for any age ranger to come back for more. For this review, Proxy Playthroughs gives Knack a glowing and gooey gold muffin for kids and an acceptably nourishing silver for the adults. But what did you think to Knack, minions? Proxy would love to know. But until next time, ciao.